to another edition of WIN TV, Washington Informer News. I'm your host, Denise Rollard Barnes, publisher of the Washington Informer, where we bring you news that matters. I'm so excited about our show today. And before I get into it, I want to remind you to like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter and TikTok, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And I hope you picked up the most recent copy of the Washington Informer that hit the streets yesterday. So make sure you get a copy of the Washington Informer. It's at newsstands all over the city. Okay, Sherry, I will do that. This is this week's issue. And of course, you can see we featured highlights from the last week's March on Washington, an interview with Martin Luther King III. And of course, we're talking about going back to school. There's a lot of interesting, great stuff on the inside as well. So one thing I'm really excited to share with you all this week, because, you know, the Washington Informer and Washington Informer Charities want to do our best to make sure that we can help to promote education and literacy among our young people in the DC public schools. But not only literacy among young people, but, you know, some of us adults still need some help with our reading skills. And so I don't know about you all, but when you pick up this issue of the Washington Informer, oops, wrong side, you will find something called Kids Scoop. This is our first issue. It's running this week, and it's geared towards young people. However, don't tell anybody, but I had a good time filling this out yesterday myself. So I look forward to all the activities, the learning activities on Kids Scoop. But if you're a parent or a teacher and you get a copy of this week's Informer, share it with your kids, and ask them to give us a review. We've got one of our young people here in the office right now writing up a review on Kids Scoop, which we're going to share with our readers. But we hope it's fun. We hope that it will increase literacy levels. We hope that it'll increase appreciation for reading. And we definitely hope that it will bring a new generation of readers into the Washington Informer. We've done it with WI Bridge. We are doing it now with Kids Scoop. And we continue to do it, as always, just with all the news that we try to cover from the DMV and the nation and the world with our great team of writers. And so, hey, pick up a copy today. So this week, or today, we are really happy to have our Washington Informer education reporter, Sam P.K. Collins, here to talk about the first week of class at DCPS, the DC Public Schools, and he'll be speaking with Principal Rosado from Savoy Elementary School over here where we are in Ward 8. We also look forward to talking to Washington Teachers Union President Jacqueline Pogue Lyons, who's here with us today because, as you all know, the schools opened on Monday and everyone's pretty excited. I mean, we've talked to a lot of young people and teachers, so it looks like all is going well this school year, but we'll find out when we talk to them. And I said I'm excited. You'll know more about why, but our Black Business Spotlight is on Desmond Barnes, an entrepreneur and candle maker and music producer who will join us today with Gary Chaw, owner of Yes Organic Market, where, breaking news, Desmond's candles will begin being sold tomorrow. And so we're going to talk a little bit about that. We're going to talk to Gary Chaw about Yes Organic. That's in all of our communities, and that's going to be a great conversation. And then for those of you all who are wannabe sewers, I mean, people that sit behind sewing machines and actually sew, I'm one of those, or who are actually great sewers, I'm so happy to have Cecily Habimana, who is a co-owner of Sew Creative Lounge, who will be with us to talk about her sewing conference that's coming up. So we've got a lot to talk about. We don't want you to go away. Just stay tuned. We're going to now shift to our broadcaster, Curtis Knowles, to bring us up to date on WIN TV News. Take it away, Curtis.
This is WIN TV News, bringing you the news that matters. A Texas law prohibiting abortions went into effect on Wednesday. The bill, known as Senate Bill Number 8, was signed by Texas Governor Greg Abbott. The Supreme Court did not respond to the emergency request to block the law. The law essentially bans all forms of abortion after 6 weeks of incubation, even in cases of rape or incest. The law allows for citizens to sue abortion providers, as well as anyone who assists a woman in getting an abortion. President Biden commented on the decision, saying it is extreme and a blatant violation of constitutional rights for abortion. The city of New Orleans is set to start its cleanup process from Hurricane Ida. The storm destroyed the power grid, which powers the city and its surrounding areas. The damage was severe to the point where officials said it might take weeks to repair. All 18 of the city's water systems were shut down by the storm as well. FEMA has sent over 3,500 employees to Louisiana, Mississippi, and other states hit by the storm with millions of meals and liters of water. President Biden stated, "We are closely coordinating with state and local officials every step of the way." Another strand of the coronavirus has spawned and is being monitored by the World Health Organization. The strand is being called Mu and was first reported in the country of Colombia. Like the Delta variant, the Mu variant being reported is said to be resistant to the already available COVID vaccinations. While it is being monitored, the CDC has reported that the Mu variant is of no major concern. The Taliban has recently acquired access to the U.S.-built biometric database. With the last of U.S. forces leaving on August 30th, it is reported that over 7,000 handheld scanners with access to the database was left in the city of Kabul. This will allow the terrorist group to identify every person who assisted NATO allies or worked with Indian intelligence. This development is more ominous due to the fact that the Taliban brigade commander gave an interview stating that a unit known as Al-Isha is set to hunt down Americans and allies found in this database. This is Curtis Knowles with WIN TV News.
Thank you, Curtis. Wow, a lot of interesting news there. And so we're going to keep you up to date with all of that. And we appreciate Curtis being here with us. We're going to transition now to the first segment of our program. We've got a lot going on today. So joining us now is Sam P.K. Collins and our education reporter. Sam, good to see you.
Likewise. Peace and blessings to you.
Yeah, so I mean, you've been out there. You been covering schools ever since COVID started. Well, actually before that, and so this big day finally happened. The schools in DC, in the District of Columbia, opened on Monday. What's been your takeaway so far?
Definitely. So, charter schools for the most part have been opening in the weeks before Monday. DCPS just opened. It's what Bowser and Farabee likened to the Super Bowl. Opinions about the reopening run the gamut. You have parents who are very enthusiastic about bringing their children back. They just wanted to jump back in the ring, and they took every precaution possible to, make sure that they were safe, from teaching about masking protocols, washing hands, things of that nature. But you also had other parents who were very concerned about the Delta variant and who are currently exploring ways to pull their children, if not pull their children out of school, but to explore virtual options. DCPS has a pathway through that. Bowser said as of last week that 150 parents or children have been signed up for the virtual option, but it's very stringent in the sense that you need a medical reason. So right now, a lot of parents and the State Board of Education has even jumped in to expand virtual options for public and charter school students. But you also have, like I said, a lot of parents who are very enthusiastic about the year. They've seen their children suffer throughout the pandemic from just separation from their friends and just being holed up in the house. So, safety is the number one priority, and they're placing trust in their schools to, make every step possible and, keeping them safe.
Fantastic. I mean, this is it's a challenging time still, but, back to school always is a challenging time. Yeah. It's just now that we have this other health crisis that we're dealing with. But, I think one cheerleader for the opening of schools, it seems like they've got this pretty much under control, is Principal Rosado of Savoy Elementary School. I'm so glad that she's joining us, and I'm going to ask you now to take it away. Welcome, Principal Rosado. So good to see you.
Thank you for having me today.
Surely. And so I'm going to step out and let you and Sam continue this conversation.
Thank you.
Very excited to have you here today. How are you?
I'm great. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. My first question for you, and, once again, congrats, for just reopening and bringing children back after 18 months. What's the climate like? What has it been like at school after 18 months being back in the building?
It's been amazing. My staff, my students, my parents are they're filled with joy. They're filled with excitement. There is this energy and buzz of our students being able to be with their other classmates and their peers. Our teachers who have been working virtually are excited to be back in the building amongst children. it is a positive atmosphere over here at Savoy.
Definitely. And just speaking about that atmosphere, what have the conversations been about reacclimating students to in-person learning?
Yeah, so we've done a lot of different things prior to school starting to ensure that our students were getting that social emotional learning piece that was very important for coming back into a building after 18 months of being out. And so we spend time every morning for 30 minutes doing some community building in their classrooms. And so just as important as our reading and writing is, our social emotional learning block is just as important as we're bringing our kids back. So every morning they have 30 minutes to build community, build their friendships, and build trust with one another as we are navigating this unknown path.
Definitely. That sounds very cool.
Yeah.
I would like to learn more about that. What does that entail? Those 30 minutes.
Absolutely. So we open up with our Savoy Creed. We have our breathing exercises that we are teaching our students tools as to how to regulate when they have emotions that are happy, sad, joyful, how to regulate those emotions with breathing techniques. And so we are also working on something called our zones of regulation. And so each color has a zone. And so you can be feeling angry. And so you're in the red zone. And so we talk about what does a red zone feel like and how we can work with one another and give each other tools when we're in a red zone. And it's okay to be in a red zone, but it's how we regulate that emotion is what we're teaching our students. Because as adults, we come in red zones to work sometimes too, but we know how to regulate that because we've been taught. And so we teach our students that as well. So it's called zones of regulation.
That's very cool. It sounds like something you're going to probably keep going for the rest of the year.
Absolutely, most definitely. And even our kids are already starting to talk the language after day 5. Some students are talking to one another saying, what zone are you in? Here's a tool you can use. And like they're talking to one another and teaching each other. So it's on day 5, it's been phenomenal. They're just absorbing everything we're giving them.
Definitely. Give thanks. In regards to the teachers, what's it looking like for them? From my vantage point, it seems like they have a lot to balance between curriculum, student social emotional learning, as well as being, making sure that the safety requirements are carried out in the classroom and around them. What are they feeling? What are their concerns? What are their hopes for the year?
So the biggest concern was coming in was how was I going to keep and ensure that they were going to be safe and bringing, going back home to their own families. How am I going to keep our students and staff safe? And so we did have our LSAT walkthrough and with our WTU as well, and we had about 10 members walk the building at the beginning of the year before school started to let them know, like, here are the things we put in place to ensure your safety as far as before students come into the building. We have our ask, look protocol with our school nurses. We do ask that our parents stay out of the building right now while we are trying to make sure that we're keeping staff and students safe. And our parents have been absolutely understanding about dropping off their children and not entering the building at this time, as we know we have COVID crisis. So they've been very understanding. And with those pieces, our teachers have been at ease. We make sure our students are wearing masks. We have our bathrooms are cleaned multiple times throughout the day. We have cleaning protocols throughout the building. We have air filters in every classroom. Our HVAC system is working. So we are actually in a great place. Our teachers were not as concerned as maybe in other places, but we actually had a great staff that understood where we were and we're very happy with what we've been doing.
Definitely. As far as communicating that to parents, what was the strategy during the summer?
So we sent out communication to our parents at the start of the year. Also, we gave our teachers the parent phone numbers in the summertime. So our teachers have been in contact with their students since July. And so parents hadn't heard from their students' teachers on the day 1. It was been in July they heard from their students' teachers. And so we have been communicating since the summertime. We had open houses for our parents so they can tour the building as well. We have multiple families come in, take a tour, ask questions. And so we just really are big on communication before things happen.
You touched on a very important point in your answer. And I'm very curious about what part does community play post quarantine period, because parents were more involved, had more of a chance to be involved in the day-to-day over the last 18 months. How have you as a principal been able to maintain that, now that children are back in school?
So I greet every child at the door when we come in. So I am outside already with my parents every morning. And so I am greeting them. I'm telling my parents, thank you for entrusting me and Savoy with their child here at, throughout the day. And so our parents, they love that relationship. And so they respect the idea that, we are out there amongst our community. We're there with the children. We are in classrooms. We are not an administration that sits in our office. We are out front. We're in classrooms. Our kids know us. All of our kids know who we are. And so our parents know who we are.
Cool. My next question, and I just want to thank you so far because you've been very detailed. I'm very curious, and I'm pretty sure the audience is as well, about the level of planning as a principal that goes into just making sure all trains run on time throughout the day. If you can just, give us a glimpse into what happens in the background, as far as the time dedicated to making all this happen.
Yeah, so the planning actually starts in around June. Even before that, when we're creating our budget, which was around February, we start the planning process. But really, at June, we hit the ground running. Our kids exit the building, and we start the planning for the next year. It is looking at all buckets that we are responsible for: academics, operations, funding. And so we just organize ourselves. Here is a list of all the things under each bucket that we have to address, and we just start plugging away through it. I have a phenomenal administration team. My assistant principal, Tyra Russell, she's been with me for several years now, and she's my right hand. And so together we just start digging away through the work. I also have staff members who are willing to work and volunteer over the summertime to help support the work that we're doing. So I had teachers coming in, and even though they don't have to, they come in and they help me plan out master calendaring. They help me plan out what's behavior management going to look like, what's our culture going to look like. So we just have staff who are 100% for the children, and they come in and volunteer over the summertime.
And as far as communication with the central office, game plan like in that regard, how much instruction do you get from them? Do you get latitude? If you can explain that.
Sure. For me, and I'm speaking for Savoy, our central office team has been amazing. Each cluster is assigned a central office team member who supports attendance, academics, operations, and they are in touch with me on a daily basis, checking in, especially on the first week of school. Hey, Rosado, do you need anything? From the chancellor all the way to my instructional superintendent, who is phenomenal. We have worked as a cluster really closely, and the design of having one person from central office connected to a cluster has really been helpful. And so I always know who to contact, and they're always available.
That's really cool. It's really cool.
We're fortunate. We're very fortunate.
And it sounds like communication is key. Just following systems, things of that nature. Very curious to learn about your vision as principal for the school year. It just started, of course, but what are your hopes for your students, your staff, and teachers?
One is to keep everybody safe, and to really the biggest piece right now is through COVID, ensuring that we are keeping to all of the mask mandates. We are, using all the sanitizer. We're keeping our social distance. That's the future, making sure that we do not have a health crisis here at Savoy. That's first and foremost, but then also just having joy at Savoy. We always tag the word Savoy joy here. And that really means a lot, where I want my children to want to come to school, to want to learn, because it's fun, it's engageful, and it's something that we're doing because it's going to help us in the future. That's my goal. My students to want to be here.
And, how do you go about maintaining that balance? I can only imagine when we're talking about masking protocols and always reminding students, where does the joy fit in that at the end of the day?
Yeah, our students understand, and I was really surprised how much of our students from kindergarten on the way to fifth grade understand the importance of mask wearing. So it really hasn't hindered the work that we're doing here. They understand it, and we're still able to do our learning. They're still able to talk and communicate. We just have our mask on, but it hasn't hindered the joy at all.
I like that. I really, really like that, and I think that's a pretty positive note to end on. Principal Rosado, just thank you so much for your time and all that you're doing. Many blessings to you and your community.
Thank you. And please stay safe out there.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Right.
You're good to go?
Go ahead.
Yeah, I didn't want to interrupt. I wanted you to carry the show forward because I know that we're so glad to have Washington Teachers Union President Jacqueline Pogue Lyons on, and I've had the pleasure of meeting her. You know her a lot better. You know the questions to ask. I'll say hello.
Hello.
Turn it back over to you, Sam.
Yes, ma'am. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. How are you? It's so good to see you instead of talking to you on the phone.
I'm telling you, happy Friday. Happy Friday.
Yeah, same to you. Same to you.
Let's jump right into it. You know, first week, what are your thoughts after conferring with teachers? What are your thoughts as, you know, leader of the teachers union, just about how the school year is going so far and what we can expect?
Yes, but first, can I give a shout out to Principal Rosado and her wonderful staff, because I am a former Savoy Tiger. I was a kindergarten teacher at Savoy for many years, and I treasured the staff there and the families and the community that I worked with at Savoy. So first, shout out for them, and I wish them a wonderful and safe school year. So I had to do that first, definitely. Especially as a former Tiger. But just want to say the teachers are eager and excited to be back. They know that many of our students, you know, they did a wonderful, heroic job teaching the kids virtually and rising to the occasion of learning all the new things they had to learn with technology. But they know that many of our students, especially those in underserved communities, suffered over 18 months learning virtual. So they're ready to go back, but we also know that there's a lot of angst and nervousness regarding the pandemic. And so I feel like it's my job to support them as much as possible and relieve some of that anxiousness by making sure that if we support vaccinations and that we make sure that if people don't vaccinate, that they test. We're happy that we're not going through any of the issues that some of our locals in other parts of the country are going through. We know that everybody has agreed that we need to mask. We're also putting a lot of effort into making sure our HVAC systems are up and working, because we know that's the best way to mitigate the spread of this virus. We're also pushing social distancing, and besides cleaning, the last thing that we want to make sure is that we have contact tracing, because we already know that we've had some small outbreaks in parts of the city already. And the best thing that we can do is that when we find that there's an outbreak, that we let the community know, and that we, if we need be, quarantine.
Definitely, and I really like how you brought up that, DC is somewhat different from other jurisdictions. Chancellor Farabee, in just allaying people's concerns on Monday, really asked that parents think about how DC is special in some ways, given the fact that, things haven't really broken out like it might have happened in other cities. What I want to focus on, for the time being is, just you as the leader of the teachers union, you often, lead them in negotiations, with the school, and making sure that, teachers going to school with an understanding of, how they're going to navigate the classroom. Could you just, speak to us about that process? Earlier or like late last month, before they returned, a memorandum of understanding was signed. Just speak to us as much as you can, like what goes into that process with like negotiating on both sides and making sure that everybody comes to the table with a clear understanding of, what teachers are doing during the school day.
Right. Well, I'm happy to say that we were able to get the memorandum of agreement, the MOA, signed, and the checklist. There's a walkthrough checklist. We were able to get all of that signed with DCPS the Monday, and I guess we signed it on Monday, and the teachers started Friday. So we were very happy about that, and we had a wonderful team of people who worked all summer to make sure that we put in place all the protocols and procedures that we felt would keep everyone safe during what we know is, the Delta variant that's out there. And then we don't know what else could be out there that would put our safety in jeopardy. So as I said before, the what we spent a lot of time on was the HVAC, because we found from talking to our experts with the American Federation of Teachers and the Black Coalition Against COVID, that the best thing that you can do to mitigate this virus is to make sure that there's constant fresh air going in and bad air going out. And also making sure that you have CO2 monitors throughout the school, because that gives you a readout of such things as the oxygen level, the CO2 level, and then also the virus, the infection rate level. And that's something that we weren't even thinking about last fall. We were thinking that if we kept everything clean and we masked, that we'd be okay and take everyone's temperature. We've learned so much over these last 18 months that it's actually the HVAC systems, along with masking, social distancing as much as possible. We all know it's getting vaccinated or tested, and then also making sure you contact trace, and that's what we really are going to have to focus on as we move into October, November, and December. Because right now we're lucky we can get outside and we can eat outside. And I'm encouraging everyone, when possible, teach outside too. But we know there's going to come a point where we're going to have to go inside. And my greatest worry as a kindergarten teacher is that we have a population that right now can't be vaccinated because of their age. And we want to keep them as safe as possible.
Definitely. I just want to thank you for that answer.
Thank you.
And a lot of science involved, in terms of air circulation and making sure that the air around us is clean. If you don't mind, I wanted to pivot real quick to impact, just given the report that came out from DCPS about racial equity, and given the independent study that American University released. At this point, what is the game plan? Well, first, what do you sense what do you sense as the opinions and the temperature, from teachers around the city about impact, as an evaluation system? Do you see teachers being enthusiastic about it being used this year, given that it's our first year back in the building,
Well, we know that teachers want to be evaluated, but they want to be evaluated fairly. And we also want an evaluation system that's good for kids. And we've learned with the release of the American University report that impact is neither. It's definitely, a lot of teachers don't understand it. It doesn't help with their professional growth. And they don't see the connection between how they're teaching and the growth of their kids. And to learn, particularly as a woman of color, that we're continuing to use an evaluation system that we know is racially biased. And we know that the DCPS has said they're going to make reforms, but how does that help? People of color? To me, if you know that something is racially biased, you get rid of it. You find another system. And we've been using this system for over 10 years. And in what we know about impact, we've seen growth in some areas, but we have not seen the growth necessary in underserved communities. And a lot of places where we don't have teachers who come and stay and get the support that they need are in those underserved communities. There's a constant revolving door in those communities. And I speak from experience because I've spent many of my years as a teacher in underserved communities, particularly in Ward 8. And so we need to support those teachers. I think DCPS does a wonderful job. They get the best and the brightest from around the country to come and teach in the District of Columbia. But we haven't done such a wonderful job in keeping them. Every year we lose up to 600 something teachers. If you lose 600 teachers every year, by the time you go through 2 years, you've lost a quarter of your teaching force. And so we need to make very serious reforms. And in my opinion, if you know that something is discriminatory, you get rid of it.
In terms of, teacher teacher retention? So like the 600 teachers leaving, every year, do you find that happening east of the river or in so-called low-performing schools?
Well, there a lot of times, like I said, in underserved communities, which for us could be in Ward 5, 7, and 8, where we have the turnover, particularly in Ward 7 and 8, where I've lived it, where I've been in, like I said, in certain schools where I've taught, where like I said, you get the best and the brightest, but we haven't figured out how to keep teachers. And I know I can't believe I'm saying this, but by next year I'll have 29 years as a DCPS teacher. And I believe I came and stayed is because I had mentoring from veteran teachers. I had excellent professional development, and I also had administrators that were very supportive. I mean, to the point where I would even name names. I had a principal named Robert Bracey who made it possible for me to go to graduate school at George Washington University to get a master's degree in bilingual special education. I want what I had as a new teacher coming into the district in 1993. I want those same things for the teachers that enter the school system now.
Wow. So once again, congrats. 29 years. That's a very
long time.
Many blessings.
Wonderful years.
Definitely. I'm curious to know, in the interim, given everything that you said, how do we go about administering impact, if at all, this year? If we know that, there's racial bias, and that teachers might not be getting, the coaching or the mentorship that they might need to improve on their scores?
Well, like I've said, if it's almost like we knew Jim Crow needed to go. If you know something is racially biased, you got to say we got to get rid of it. What we're doing right now at the WTU is we have an impact committee, and we know it's not enough for us just to complain about something. You got to complain about it, but you also have to say what can replace it. We've been working with school systems in Pittsburgh and in Cleveland, where they've had a lot of success with their evaluation systems. We have a team of teachers working based on the information we've gotten from those two cities in order to figure out what evaluation system would be best for our teachers. And so, and then we're also thinking about what other things we can do to say that, how can we get the teachers the mentoring they need, the professional development they need, and all those things that we know will help to get teachers here and keep them here, particularly in our underserved communities.
I'm very excited to hear about that in the future, and I'm hopeful that we'll get to talk more about that as updates come. President Lyons, just thank you so much for your time today and your candor. I really appreciate it, and it's very good to see you in person, at least virtually.
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you for asking me to join you, and I would love to talk more with you about impact.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much. Peace.
Thank you.
Right.
That was a great interview, Sam. Thank you. Both of them actually were great interviews, Sam. And it certainly does, I think, highlight where our teachers are and our students are. And I'm glad that she's willing to come back. We're going to have some more, have some parents. I know that you have a lot lined up because education, we can't talk enough about education.
We still can't.
Exactly. I mean, I know this isn't part of the show, but I have to say, I just got this in the mail just like 5 minutes ago. So there's a teacher, Shalita Fair, giving her a shout out because I just got her book, and it's called Never Stop Smiling, a special education teacher's memoir. So we're going to check this out, and we'll be calling on Shalita Fair to talk about, special ed, because when you talk about particularly schools on this side of the river, we know that this tends to be the area where we have kids that have really special needs. And so I think she would be a great person to have on as well.
I agree. Looking forward to it.
All right. Well, I'm going to let you go. We're going to go on with the rest of the show, but thank you so much for this segment, and we'll see you this time next week.
Oh, yeah. Thank you so much.
All right, Sam. Thank you. again, like I said, we can't talk enough about education, and I don't want to, I can't be embarrassed to say for those teachers that are watching, this is a new page that we just started this week in the Washington Informer. It's called Kid Scoop. And it's a really fun page, I think, for kids and adults to really experience the newspaper, but experience a lot of activities that will help with reading and just, you know, building their language skills and emotional skills, all of that. So I want you all to check this out. It's available in the Washington Informer's issue this week. And we're going to make sure that we get a bundle of those papers over to Savoy Elementary School because we want our kids to look at it and to do a review. Tell us what you think. And we just got a great review from a young writer. And when I say young writer, he's 10 years old. And he just did Kid Scoop and shared with us, I can't help it, share with us his review. He typed this on his cell phone, you all. I mean, some of us can't even get phone numbers typed into our cell phones in 5 minutes, but he did this as a great, very great review. I told him I might hire him as our cub reporter next year. If he's old enough. He'll be 12. I guess that can work. But at any rate, yeah, please check out Kid Scoop, catch out this issue of the Washington Informer, and because we do want to hear from you about that. So now for the sewers out there, I am really excited to bring on Cecily Habimana, who has got something happening that sounds like it's going to be a great, great activity. For those who are interested in sewing. But before we talk to her, we want to see a brief video. Oh, that is so cool. That's so cool, Cecily. I love it. So virtual sewing conference. Welcome to Win TV.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Wow. So before we get into the conference, I want to talk a little bit about your life with sewing. How did this all start?
Well, I come from a family of sewers. My mother sewed, my grandmother sewed, my great-grandmother sewed. My children, who are 4 and 8, they already know how to sew. So it's just something that's passed on generation to generation. So by the time I was in high school, I was making my friends' prom dresses. College, I went to Howard University. I basically I ran a whole business from my dorm room, and which landed me here in Mount Rainier, Maryland.
Wow. You know, when you think about sewing, anybody that travels, you know, globally, particularly, one of the fun things is that you can go in to a fabric store, see some great fabric. Someone will introduce you to a seamstress who could be male or female. And you can have 5 outfits in 24 hours. It's amazing. And they can make, and they make money. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And they may not be, you know, what you might buy in a department store per se, but they are quality, still quality items. And so we don't think about the fact that sewing is still a marketable skill.
Yep, I definitely agree. And it's a necessary skill, especially what we saw from last year during the pandemic. Like every seamstress was out there making masks, trying to make sure that we stayed safe over the past year. So it's definitely a useful skill in that way.
Wonderful. So tell us about the conference.
So the conference is called So Much Soul. It's SEW, Much Soul. And it's basically, it highlights, we have 8 instructors from all over the country. They're all African-American women. And they are amazing, an amazing lineup of sewers. Each one will have either a project. So we're making a tote bag. We have a class on how to make an apron, a shirt. They're both beginner-friendly projects, and we also have some little bit more of advanced projects as well. But the conference is September 11th and 12th. It's all virtual. We have a large response to it. We're expecting at least, hopefully around 1,000 people. We have about 7,500 people that are already RSVP for the conference. And what you just saw up there is the lineup of instructors that we have that's going to be teaching.
That is so, so exciting. It sounds like so much fun. And when you talk about aprons and other things, it takes me back to the days when I was in Rabot Junior High School here in Washington, D.C. in my home economics class, learning how to sew initially. And I really did love it. I mean, it brings you such real satisfaction sometimes, even if you mess up, which I did a lot of that. But so who are some of the participants or the presenters at your conference?
Well, one is, her name is Mama Fia Nsombonsu. She's teaching the meaning of African print fabrics. We have another instructor, her name is Erica Bunker. She's doing 5 tips to sew like a pro. My partner Tisha is Tisha Thorne. She is teaching 2 projects. One is it's a sewing apron, so it has a bunch of pockets so you can put all your sewing supplies in there, and a thread catcher that you can use so that you don't have all. Oh, actually, I have a sample of the thread catcher right here. So you put all of your. This part sits on the table and it serves as a pin cushion, and then this part is where you put all your threads that you don't want all over the floor.
Right.
So, yeah. So those are a couple of our instructors that are going to be teaching.
Why do you think you have so many people that have registered?
I don't think that the sewing industry has done a good job in terms of catering to Black sewists. And so when people heard about my conference, I made sure that they knew that it was for them. And it was with Black and mostly women, because that's sew here in the United States. That they just found like, okay, this is actually made for us, with us in mind. And so with that, I just opened the flood door, as I said, okay, this is for you guys. I did some marketing behind it, and it kind of just caught wind, and a lot of people have been interested in attending.
And I love that quilt behind you. Is that something you produced as well?
Yeah. So this is a quilt made by my partner Tisha. She does both quilting as well as she makes garments as well. But this is one of her pieces in my background.
Wonderful. I always have to tell these personal stories, but I started on a quilt 1,000 years ago when my sons were little, and I was doing it by hand. And I went to someplace and someone said, "You don't have to do that. You can use a sewing machine." I was like, "Isn't that cheating?"
No, it's not cheating. And there are some quilters that like to still sew by hand. And then there's some that may use the machine to sew the pieces together. And then they'll sew the layers together by hand. So they're just different techniques.
Wonderful. So, and you talked about the meaning of African fabrics. Can you give us a hint about what we'll hear during that session?
So people think of African fabrics as like one. I mean, Africa is like it's not a country, right? So the fabrics come from different places and they have different meanings. There are meanings for colors. So if you go to Ghana and you have a red and black fabric, those fabrics are typically worn for funerals. Then you have some fabrics that have symbols on it. They are called different things. My husband's from Burundi, and they call them gitenge. But if you go over into West Africa, you'll hear Ankara, you'll hear wax prints, you'll hear all these different names. And so the woman that's doing the presentation is going to kind of break down those things. She's like another mother to me, and has a wealth of information in terms of fabrics.
And your little ones that are sewing now, what kinds of things do you have them engaged with? And are there any sessions for, for the
Yeah. So we start them young. Let's see, the session that we have coming up in the fall, they start at 8 years old. Those students come in at either on Sundays or I believe on Tuesday evenings, and they have 2-hour sessions where they come in, they learn how to use a sewing machine, they make various projects like skirts and that sort of thing. We also have a entrepreneurship program, and those are the ones that actually make a piece, and then at the end of the semester, they'll sell their garments or whatever projects that they've made. But before, I also want to show you some of the fabrics that I designed as well. So I started designing fabrics basically at the top of the pandemic, and it was my first time doing so. And so I have this fabric, it's called Black Lives Matter fabric. And I did this fabric right at during the beginning of the Black Lives Matter protest. And it was basically because I knew that with having 2 small children at home, I couldn't be out there protesting with everybody, but I wanted my voice to be heard. And I developed this fabric. It comes in a couple different colors.
Nice.
And we sold like a lot of this fabric, and people wore it, and it was their way of expressing, their support of this movement. And I just want to show you 2 other ones. One is called Birthright. And let's see. Okay, I think it's backwards, but you could see. Yeah. But this one I developed in response to Amanda Gorton's poem, her inaugural poem at the beginning of the year. I took words that she had said throughout her poem, and I was just inspired by like how moving it was, especially for such a young person. And I developed this word fabric from that.
And Amanda was our former Poet Laureate, National Poet Laureate.
Yeah.
And the other?
I'm sorry?
Was that it? Was that the?
I have just one more. This one is just more fun. We got this. This one's called Hello Queen, and it's got the girl with the Afro puffs on it.
Right. Yeah. Nice. So tell me, just before we go, where are you located? Can people come in for lessons? Just give us, that information.
So we're in Mount Rainier, Maryland. We're located at 3711 Rhode Island Avenue. You can reach us. The phone number's there, 301-779-9000. We are open for classes. We have both in-person and virtual classes. We also have a retail space. So if you need fabric like the ones I showed you, or just sewing notions, you can come in. We're open 6 days a week. We're just closed on Mondays.
Wonderful. Cecily, thank you so much for what you're doing. Thank you for joining us. I'm going to try to peek in. Is there any cost to register, or can you just register?
So the conference is free. So you just go to somuchsoulconference.com. That conference is completely free. You do have to pay for your supplies if you want to make the projects. But other than that, if you just want to listen in on the classes, you're welcome to do that as well.
Okay. All right. Sam, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Keep up the tradition. I love it.
Thank you so much.
All right. Talk to you soon. And before time gets away from us, I am so excited now to bring on Desmond Barnes as another one of our Black business profiles. We're out of Black Business Month, but we're never out of Black businesses. And so I'm so excited to have D.B. Bantino and his colleague there. And is Gary Chaw there? I don't see. Oh, there you are. There, Gary. Hi, Gary. How are you? Fantastic. You have to unmute yourself. And while we do that, Desmond and Darrell, how are you?
Hello. How you doing?
Hey, how are you?
Nice to see you.
Great. Now here we are, two, young, talented, brothers together, friends who are working together to launch this candle company. Tell us a little bit about it, Desmond, and how you and Darrell connected.
Well, yes, we're here to talk to you about Heart of the City candles.
Okay.
Beautiful candle that basically I had the idea originally to create a candle. For me, I'm a musician, an artist, and a songwriter and producer. I spent a lot of my time in the recording studio. And one of the things that really helps me to create like a good vibe when I'm making music is a good smelling candle. So one day I was getting ready to go purchase a candle, and I just thought, why don't I just try to make my own? Let me see what happens if I make my own. And I decided to go get some of the products to make a candle, and I started burning it. And friends and other artists would come and they say, "Wow, it smells so good in here. What is that you're burning?" And I say, "Well, that's my new candle." So they started asking me, "How can I get a candle? How do I get one?" And then it just kind of grew into a business from there.
And how did you and Darrell connect?
Well, we actually connected. We went to high school together. We both attended School Without Walls, senior high school. So we actually reconnected because I was looking for some help with a better label for the original candle that I had. And Darrell, he had a great resource for me, but I think we both realized we had way more to offer to each other than a label. So.
Fantastic. Darrell, were you into candles already?
I like candles. I love them. They're all over my home. But now I have Heart of City candles all over my home.
Fantastic.
When they're lighting the place up, everyone loves the smell. And I'm just happy to be a part of, this project and this venture.
Wonderful. And then now we introduce or bring Gary Chaw from Yes Organics, Yes Organic Market kind of comes into the picture. Let's talk about how that relationship evolved. Gary, welcome. How did you hear about these guys?
Well, thank you for inviting me. Desmond and Darrell were just local guys when they just remind me of when I started in organic grocery business in the 20s, where I had lots of energy like these guys. But they're probably short on cash and a little bit of knowledge that they could benefit. And so I was excited to have their candles in our store because the fragrance is something that a lot of people don't really understand or underestimate. Is that's so powerful that such fragrance can put you in a different mood. It can help you feel relaxed and peaceful or energetic. And I'm sure Desmond, being a musician, fully understands that. That's probably why he is so into it, and he understands. And we have paired up because he's local, and can't pass by supporting a local entrepreneur, especially the person of a minority background, and because that's how I started, and I was lucky, extremely lucky. And as I'm getting older, there's nothing more than that I would rather have than somebody like Desmond carry on something that I shared with through our store, and we can provide them with a store, maybe perhaps a little bit of knowledge. And that's where we are. And we're working on it this weekend through our Customer Appreciation Day. And I'm sure Desmond could really use this. Never take your customers for granted. You really let them know every chance you get, you appreciate them. So we're having a Customer Appreciation Day tomorrow, starting 9 o'clock to 6 o'clock at 2123 14th Street. And their candle, the awesome Good Fragrance candle, will be featured there, along with a lot of good food and beverage. And if you happen to be over 21 years old, we'll have some beer and wine tasting as well. And I'm excited.
Yeah, that's great, Gary, because folks may not know it, but Yes Organic Market is a family-owned business, correct?
Yes, absolutely. It's myself, my brother, and my sister Kathy, my brother Gene, and I. And I'm the youngest, and we've been in a business for 40 years. Well, 40 plus years up and other things as well. So it's closely knit, and we make the decisions together. We make mistakes together. And along the way, I think we made more right decisions than the mistakes. And we are so grateful that when we didn't do the right thing, customer gave us another chance, and we got a lot of support from local residents and leaders. I'm grateful for that. So I'm still looking for ways to return what we received, and hopefully I can do that through Desmond this weekend.
Well, I'm really excited because I know Desmond, when you first started this business, and between you and Darrell, who knew that it was going to take off so quickly? And it's really a pleasure, Gary, to know that you have a retailer who's really going to be hands-on to, because I'm sure you've had some challenges along the way. You want to talk about a few with regards to marketing a product that you really created just for yourself? Desmond?
Oh, I mean, honestly, I'm really very, very thankful for Gary and giving us this opportunity to put the candles in the store. I think he might have eliminated some of the trials and tribulations that a lot of upcoming businesses go through, you know, even to find someone that will carry your product. But there's been a lot of hands-on helping us to find out different ways to market and reach different people in the city. We started with flyers, and we're going to be moving on to online marketing. Just trying to reach as many people as we can, and Darrell's also helped with that extremely.
And I know that we're just very grateful for Mr. Chow. I mean, from the very beginning, he has come in, and he didn't just say, you know, hey, we like your product, we want to put it on the shelf. He actually walked us through the steps to make our products better. He walked us through the steps to make sure that our labels were put on correctly, that we had the right lighting and the right pictures on our labels, that our shelf talkers looked the right way. And so when you have someone who mentors you like that and is willing to mentor you from basically an idea into fruition, you couldn't be nothing else but grateful.
That's exciting, and I know even we had a conversation the other day, Desmond, about the QR code?
Yes, the QR codes. That was one of the first lessons that we learned is, you know, make the QR codes a little bit bigger because they can scan. It's two different ways they have to scan it in the store, one across and one with the scan gun. So, you know, just certain things like that we're learning but applying them as soon as we learn them so that, you know, we don't waste any time.
It was funny, the story you told me about how you watched someone in the store, you watched the salesperson in the store trying to scan that your candle and the panic that you had. Tell us.
Well, I mean, we've been through a lot of work to get this candle correct. We've had some, you know, some changes that we've had to make, and you know, we make every candle is made by hand. You know. So as you sit there and you label 300, 400 candles, and then you bring them to the store, the first thing you're thinking is, I hope this works. You know, I hope that, and I saw the candle go and I saw it go and I said, oh, my heart dropped. But then when they hit it with that scan gun and everything started working, I said, wow, okay, it's definitely meant to be here. So at first, yeah, I was cautious of that, but now definitely understand that's a change that we can make.
So how did you all come up with the name of the candle?
The name of the candle, Heart of the City Candle. I've been in Los Angeles for the last 5 years working on music. Just moved back to DC pretty much. And since this candle came to me in DC and just where I am right now, I feel like I am right in the heart of the city when I make the product. So that's why I couldn't think of a better name than Heart of the City Candle, because that's where it's all located, right here in the heart of the city.
Wonderful. So what time is all the activities again tomorrow, Gary?
9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Saturday and Sunday. Yeah, I'm excited to feature their products, and as you can see there, they have so much enthusiasm. I love it.
Wonderful.
And energy, just like I was when I was in 20s.
And this, yes, so was I. And this is your 14th Street store?
Yes, it's on 14th Street, 14th and V, a corner there, 2123 14th Street. And we want to thank all the customers who have been staying with us or have gone elsewhere to shop to come back and give us another chance. We are the truly local grocery store. We started in 1970 from Georgetown, and we have been serving the people in Washington ever since. And when people buy Desmond's candle, that money is staying right in our neighborhood, supporting a local economy. It's not leaving to some retailers from European companies. It's not going to Europe. It's staying right here, circulating, improving our economy.
Well, that's fantastic. So now I have to give the little known secret. Number one, I am a regular customer of Yes Organic. I, usually go to your store on 8th Street on Capitol Hill, which is the closest one to me. And I always enjoy the service, and your team is really great. So thank you for being a part of the community. And I have to also fully disclose that Desmond's middle name is Rolark, which means that he's also my son. So, and I have known Darrell since they were at School Without Walls. So, you guys make me really proud. I'm so excited with what you're doing. And I'm just hoping that, as your granddaddy used to say, that Lottie Dottie and everybody show up on 14th Street tomorrow between 9 and 6. One, to buy your candles, to shake your hand, take pictures with you. And, I'll be there. And to buy whatever other great things that Yes Organics has to sell. So
I just want to say, I think the time tomorrow is 12. I think the time is 12 to 6 tomorrow.
Okay. Well, we had them at 9 o'clock, so there'll be some other things, but yeah, they can come early.
Okay, great.
Good. That means you have to get up earlier.
Well, we'll be there.
All right, you all. Thank you so much. Any other closing remarks?
No, thanks for having me, and I'm excited to feature their candles.
I'll say they can find it.
Darrell?
I just want to say, these candles are all across DC at the Yes Organic markets and the Yes Organic markets in Hyattsville, so folks can go pick them up. They're on sale for the month of September for $11.99. So buy them before October, because they'll go up to $13.99.
All right, let me get my supply now. It's a good way to start getting that early holiday shopping in, right?
That's right.
Kwanzaa, Christmas, whatever we're celebrating in the next few months. So get them now or pay more later. All righty. Thank you all for joining us on Win TV, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you. Well, that brings us, and my heart is like this big, my head's this big. Of course, I'm very, very proud of Desmond and Darrell, and grateful to Gary Chaw for making this happen. Who knows? You just, like you said, you make something for yourself, and it ends up being a winner, and somebody takes a chance with you. And that's what we need to be doing, for people in our community. And I can't say that I had any influence on that, because I didn't. I know I'm learning about this just like you all are. But it's good when people will see young people trying to do something positive, and that we invest in them. So that's why I'm so happy to have, again, Desiree Williams riding shotgun with us today, a Howard University student, great writer, great social media person. And she will be on the controls next week, I understand. So let's wish her a lot of luck. Wish me a lot of luck too, to be able to follow her instructions and guidance. So you all have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. It is a holiday weekend. If you're not traveling, just enjoy the great weather we're going to have. If you are traveling, please be safe, and just be safe anyway. Because of what we are dealing with right now that has not gone away, which is COVID-19. So having said that, do we have sounds? We're going to move now to Bridge TV with the media prints, and also sounds of the DMV, my other son. All right, you all, take care. We'll see you next week.
It's Friday! And let's not even act like you don't know why we are here. It's time for all the trending topics of the DMV. We got Fila, we got Black Ink Crew, we got badass Virginia students pulling pranks. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to What's Going On, DC. I'm your boy, the Media Prince. Let's start off with IDK, whose no-label academy at the Harvard University took the world by storm. First, check out the epic uniforms. He worked with Nike, Jordan, Converse, and Guess. Now check out what the students experienced, including a word from the Virgil Abloh.
Like this class that you guys are in is the most forward-thinking space on the planet to me, and how I think and how I operate.
Y'all ready to party? Good, cause we are a week away from a double DMV and Good Bar Crawl's Central American Bar Crawl, the U Street Takeover. Take a look, you party animals. Huge shout out to the museum with the official release of their Fila collection. And with this collection, they also shouted out all the epic gears that put the city on the map. Take a look. Our Southeast Queen, Taraji P. Henson, shares a video on her page, and I think it's quite important for us to take a look at. Now, Karens, don't be offended, just do better. Cue the clip.
Do you know what a Karen is?
Yeah.
What's a Karen?
It's a person who's really selfish and only cares about themselves, and they want everything to be for them. A rich person? A crazy person?
What's another word for a Karen?
Cow?
Do you know any Karens?
My dad's seen one, but I've never seen one in my life.
Where'd your dad see a Karen?
I think it was at a Walmart. Oh, my grandparents are kind of Karens.
Did anybody see Megan Thee Stallion, Normani, and Sierra clapping at the Dolce & Gabbana after party? Well, someone added music to it, and let's just say it's definitely giving CFE. Courtesy of the Shade Room, take a quick look. Let's keep the good humor going. Our friends at the Neighborhood Talk brought back a clip that's going to make the city smile. And make sure you read the caption with the video. Does DC stop the national lingo? I think so.
Girl, guess who pregnant? But who the baby father? Girl, we about to go up G-Town or whatever. Yeah, we about to head up gallery or whatever. Hey, y'all stop moving!
Ari Lennox with another Graham shutdown. DMV's own Kitty returns to Black Ink Crew Chicago as a full cast member this season. Take a look.
I'm just trying to be a better me. I got loyalty and blood. I do anything for love.
Family means everything to me. I can't lose anyone else.
I'm a dad now. It's so crazy how quick life changes. After almost losing my life, I'm ready to live it to the fullest.
I up and left New York for good. I just hope I made the right move.
In need of some motivation? Read this. Can I please get some snickerdoodles? So the students of Virginia play way too much, and let's just say, I was never this bold back in my day, but today's kids are with everything, okay? Take a look at how they play with the schoolboy.
Sok, Sook, Mahidik. Luke Mahidik. Ophelia McHawk. Ophelia McHawk. Eileen Dover. Eileen Dover.
So I told you guys last week about the National Cannabis Fest kickoff with Fat Five Freddy. Well, take a look at that quick recap shot by MLB.
Let's tune in.
So I just want to thank you and give you your flowers first for creating a lane and an avenue for people like me to do what we do today.
Thank you so much. Great to meet you and great to be here.
Yes. So we got the epic Fat Five Freddy here.
Filmmaking is a part of what I do. I'm also a visual artist. A lot of people don't realize, like during the 90s, I directed over 70 music videos while I was hosting Your MTV Rap. So filmmaking, first videos for Snoop, early videos for Nas, Latifah, Gangsta, I can go on and on. Pushing the word about the film and also this new product, Be Noble. You see the poster for it right there. This was a brother that I learned about while making the movie that was given a 13-year sentence for 2 joints. And that just tore me up. And then I learned that there was a lot of that going on. Too many people in jail for non-violent cannabis offenses. As it's becoming a booming multi-billion-dollar business, they putting brothers in jail. And I wanted to raise awareness by also providing a quality product of some killer weed. Okay? Don't get it twisted, baby. Fab Prophetic. I'm a school, y'all. Hey. I'm here with the homie that's doing his thing, following this here progression. I passed the baton. My man got it. He's running with it. Do your thing, baby.
Thank you so much. This was a pleasure having you.
Likewise.
Thank you so much.
It's Labor Day weekend, and if you're looking for something to do, there are more than a dozen Smithsonian Gardens here in DC. And guess what? They're all free. Go now before the weather confuses us even more. Well, folks, that's the end. Another great week of what's going on DC. Until next week, we are headed out. For all this and more, head over to wibridgedc.com to read up on all the things you missed. And make sure you subscribe to our YouTube and follow us on social media and follow our hashtags WGODC and WIBridgeTMP Style. Signing off. See you next week.
Yeah. Check it. 210 lost souls, the spirits talk to me. My pen right flows a little off a key. On pitch black roads, cause I don't need to see. Ride 210 slow, cause I don't. Cut the light, I'm on the 210, I'm coasting home. Middle passes from the trenches to a stable home. Paint a picture where I'm headed, where I'm coming from. My next tale gonna be louder than the mobile phone. Broken dreams, more shook up from what we supposed to be. What it seems, we ain't followers, more we supposed to lead. Saw the meaning in my life from lessons I would keep. Some of this shit is surface level, and it ain't never deep. Prophetical spirit, like the chosen one. The message I bear, like the chosen son. Literal meaning to my name is divine poet. This shit I write is God, like the spirit in my voice. Wish I had a youngin' riding next to me. Keep me company and hope she wouldn't complicate it. She always letting quiet moments slip away. Don't fuck up a good night, we'll have shit to say. 210 lost souls, the spirits talk to me. My pen right flows a little off a key. On pitch black roads, cause I don't need to see. Ride 210 slow, cause I don't need to speed. 210 lost souls, the spirits talk to me. My pen right flows a little off a key. On pitch black roads, cause I don't need to see. Ride 210 slow, cause I don't need to. Perfection mode, I grind cause practice make you paper. Impact on this game, and I don't need a major. I own all my issues, so I namely Mac my label. Better yet the world mode, this moment I'm a savior. And I don't owe no favors, settled all my debts and paid them. I'm just getting started, so everything I net is profit. Plus I make the offers, so it's pay me over 98. The volumes of my life will be amazing. I made the sacrifices, journeyed on the road and paved it. For any artists in DMV that's beating feet to pavement. Some long nights in hotels, but I wouldn't change it. Gave me wisdom, extra hours, I'm several days in. And I appreciate it, hard knocks and graduated. Deadlines and dues, I met them all and I gladly paid them. Witness greatness, enjoy the one that's blessed and highly favored. Bet my first chain would feel like I'm being coronated. 210 lost souls, the spirits talk to me. My pen right flows a little off a key. On pitch black roads, cause I don't need to see. Ride 210 slow, cause I don't need to speed. 210 lost souls, the spirits talk to me. My pen right flows a little off a key. On pitch black roads, cause I don't need to see. Ride 210 slow, cause I don't need to speed. Ripper. Yeah. No flights to Waldorf, streaming everywhere, based on a true story. Yeah. Check it. 210 lost souls.
What influenced me to start rapping? I come from a family of musicians. You know, my father, legendary drummer from Red Essence Foots. You know, my uncle, James Funk. All of them, you know. So music was always present. But, you know, what drew me into rapping was I was in L.A. 2016, 2018, and I was influenced by Nipsey. And, you know, I just saw his movement, and, you know, when he dropped Victory Lap, that really, like, had a big impact on me. And I decided I wanted to come back to DC and, you know, be that image for back home.
Prophetical spirit, like the chosen
one. I
one.
see the DMV music scene the next 5 years. Right now, it's a DMV renaissance, and I think we finally gonna have our limelight in the mainstream, because for the longest, go-go was the #1 genre here, and now hip-hop is really taking over. So I think when we get more spotlight on the area, we can really be the tastemakers for the industry, which we deserve to be. That's why I see it going.
On pitch black roads, cause I don't need to
see. Right now, I just dropped my album, No Flights to Waldorf, based on the true story. I dropped that last month. That's streaming on all platforms, man. I'm always working on new projects, cause I'm always drop every 6 months, man. I don't let up. I'm working on shooting music videos, man, dropping more content for the album, more stuff for y'all to do, man, and performing. Y'all catch me anywhere.
Better yet the world mo. This moment I'm a savior. And
you can catch me on Instagram, Definite Ripper _. Same thing on Facebook, Definite Ripper. Twitter, just Foots, FOOTZ. I'm everywhere, man. If you can't find me, just Google me. I'm also on Rap Genius. I'm everywhere. D-Mac is the world.
DMV that's beating feet.